going to discuss, it's called autocoids, मतलब local hormone जिसको बोलते हैं ना, site of production and action is same, unlike endocrine where site of production is somewhere else and action is somewhere else. What I'm going to discuss for all of you guys is two important stuffs. One will be your histamine, mainly one will be your histamine, हाथ चल नहीं रहा है इतनी ठंडी में, एंड अदर वन विल बी योर सेरोटोनिन. इन दोनों पे मेनली हमारा फोकस रहेगा, हिस्टामिन सेरोटोनिन. फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट पहले बात करेंगे हिस्टामिन के बारे में. इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स इन हिस्टामिन दैट ईच वन ऑफ यू इज ऑलरेडी अवेयर दैट हिस्टामिन इज हैविंग हाउ मेनी रिसेप्टर गाइस, हाउ मेनी रिसेप्टर ऑफ हिस्टामिन आप सबको बताएं. सबसे पहला पॉइंट तो देख लीजिए हिस्टामिन के रिसेप्टर कितने होते हैं. तो वी आर हैविंग हिस्टामिन 1, बहुत डिफिकल्ट नाम है, हिस्टामिन 2, histamine 3, histamine 4. I hope कि all of you guys are able to understand and recall and remember this difficult name of histamine, है ना. थोड़ा सा 3 और 4 को मैं थोड़ा सा दूर रखूंगा, डिफिकल्ट नेम है, समझ में आ जाएगा. histamine 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? Now histamine 1, 2, 3, 4 that we are having. सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन जो आ सकता है आपके एग्जामिनेशन में, what is the associated G protein? histamine 1 के साथ कौन सा होगा? that is going to be your GQ. 1 is the very favorite number for Q. histamine 2 के लिए हमारे पास है GS. 3 and 4 both action is going to be mediated by GI. Both action is going to be mediated by GI. Always and always remember, H3 is mainly present in the CNS. H3 is mainly present in the CNS and they causes sedation. They are involved in the sedation. The question that can be framed from here, that if H3 itself is causing sedation, do you know that there is something called your H3 का inverse agonist, H3 का inverse agonist that can lead to your wakefulness. H3 का inverse agonist, inverse मतलब उल्टा, inverse means उल्टा, and this will be causing wakefulness. I repeat again, H3 itself causes sedation और inverse agonist क्या करेगा? Wakefulness करेगा. We are having agent like your tiprolisant, we are having agent like your tiprolisant and we are also having agent like your pitolisant, tiprolisant and pitolisant. इतनी सी बात आपको याद रखना है. 3 में tiprolisant है, pitolisant they are inverse agonist, they can increase the wakefulness, they are the inverse agonist का example also, and plus they can be utilized in narcolepsy. Where are we going to use them? We will be utilizing them in the management of the narcolepsy. ये बात क्लियर हो गई. Now H2 तो सबको पता है ना, H2 is mainly present on the gastric parietal cell. And what is the function of this H2, boys and girls? H2 present on the gastric parietal cell, they mainly increase the acid secretion. And whenever they are going to increase the acid secretion, will they increase the risk of peptic ulcer disease? Will they increase the risk of peptic ulcer disease? Definitely yes, they will increase the will be question included in this. Yes, there are a lot of question also, there are a lot of question, है ना. They will increase the risk of peptic ulcer disease. अभी तो मैं सिर्फ ये आपको कॉन्सेप्ट दे रहा हूँ, इस कॉन्सेप्ट के बेसिस पे विल हैव लॉट ऑफ सेशन, लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चन, है ना. इंक्रीजिंग द एसिड सिक्रीशन दैट कॉज पेप्टिक अल्सर डिजीज. देयरफॉर व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू यूटिलाइज, वी आर गोइंग टू यूटिलाइज H2 ब्लॉकर व्हिच एवरीवन इज ऑलरेडी अवेयर, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी ranitidine, loxatidine, nizatidine, and what examiner is interested in asking is about your cimetidine. Now cimetidine, why examiner is very fond of asking cimetidine? Due to two important reasons. One is cimetidine is associated with a gift, that is gift of gynecomastia. They can cause gynecomastia, that is one problem. Second problem with cimetidine, that it is going to be a very very potent enzyme inhibitor. It is going to be a very potent enzyme inhibitor, therefore drug to drug interaction is also going to be very very common. Apart from that, if I ask all of you guys that what about H1, H1 का क्या function है guys? Remember H1 has many function, and with respect to H1 का function, if you are going to look at here H1 का function, H1 is mainly involved in the all the inflammatory pathway, inflammation में they are mainly involved in the inflammation and also involved in the allergy. तो जितने भी allergic responses हैं they will be coming through H1, allergic responses will be coming through H1. Apart from that, in the CNS, H1 in the CNS, remember H1 they act at the RAS. RAS is reticular activating system. RAS is reticular activating system. In the CNS they will be causing wakefulness. H1 normally causes what? Wakefulness. इसीलिए कभी भी हम H1 का एंटागनिस्ट देते हैं, बिकॉज वी आर गोइंग टू यूटिलाइज इन द मैनेजमेंट H1 का एंटागनिस्ट विच एवरीवन इज ऑलरेडी अवेयर, अ ड्रग लाइक योर सेटिरिजिन. An isomer of cetirizine that we know is known as your levocetirizine. What is one common side effect of antihistaminic drug, that the H1 antagonist, that is known as your sedation, right? You already must be aware about that. Chlorpheniramine, it's also one of the antihistaminic drug. Chlorpheniramine is among the first generation H1 antagonists. Point to be noted, that is number 1. Chlorpheniramine, it's the first generation antihistaminic drug. Second point is that among the first generation, it is the least sedative first generation. least sedative first generation. Now there is something called first and second generation as well. I'm not going into those details. I'm just trying to pick most of the important topics from where question can be easily asked. So how to remember? Chlorpheniramine chota acting, chlorpheniramine is the chota acting. They are the least sedative first generation H1 antagonists. If there is something least sedative, then remember we also have a drug that is known as your fexofenadine. Fexofenadine is coming from the second generation, like cetirizine is also from the second generation. Fexofenadine is also coming from the second generation. Point to be noted here that overall it is the least sedative. Overall it is going to be the least sedative one. So if the examiner is going to ask you that there is a machine worker, they will never ask the direct question. No, remember that there is a machine worker or there is a truck driver, you need an antihistaminic drug. So this is going to be required or going to be preferred in a patients requiring constant attention. Patients requiring constant attention. कोई भी पर्सन है अगर उसको constant attention की requirement है, so we will be needing this one. Patients requiring constant attention. Requiring constant attention में we will be giving this one. So I think it is pretty clear to all of you guys. Point number one that you should take note is what is the important G protein. So H1 का G protein is Q, H2 का is GS. We are using peptic ulcer disease में H3 and H4. H3 is mainly present in the CNS. H4 का mainly है ना, it is present at the WBC and mainly involved in the chemotaxis. We do not have a drug for H4. We do not have a drug for H4, but H3, because H3 itself causes sedation, when I give inverse agonist, याद करते चलिए, because revision is the key for your examination. For your examination, there are two type of people required. One will be, there will be two type of people. One will be well read, one will be well revised. Well read people can be, they have read cover to cover every notes, but if they have not well revised, that will be there will be always shortcoming in that. So well revised person will always take over, this highest marks that we are actually talking after the examination. So anyone who is getting a high score, they are actually well revised rather than well read. Tiprolisant, pitolisant, they are going to be S3 रिसेप्टर का इनवर्स एगोनिस्ट. जल्दी से हम बात कर लिए. लेट्स क्विकली टॉक अबाउट सेरोटोनिन एज वेल. पॉइंट्स टू बी नोटेड अबाउट, इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स टू बी नोटेड अबाउट सेरोटोनिन. जैसे कि डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन मैंने पूछा था, व्हाट आर द रिसेप्टर ऑफ हिस्टामिन. लाइक वाइज वी आर हैविंग इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स और लेट्स ए वेरी डिफिकल्ट पॉइंट इन सेरोटोनिन. क्या क्या रिसेप्टर होंगे? What are the receptors that you know for serotonin, guys? So again, they are going to be very difficult name. 5-HT, that is going to be 5-HT1. Then we are going to have 5-HT2. Then we are going to have 5-HT3 and 5-HT4. A very simple question that I have seen that is also being asked in the medical colleges as well. Examiner simply asks that किसका agonist use करोगे, किसका antagonist. Where are you going to use agonist? Where are you going to use antagonist? So all my students, you already know, if you have attended my classes previously, I used to say that never forget there is a rule called rule of 5. What does rule of 5 says? What does rule of 5 says? Rule of 5 says that receptor number 1 and receptor number 4 का you are always going to use agonist. पहला और आखिरी वाला का you are going to use agonist. Then we are left with 2 and 3. So 1 and 4 become 5, 2 and 3 become 5. 2 and 3 ka you are always going to use antagonist. Let me take at least the next 2 minutes on this serotonin and make sure that serotonin से आने वाले क्वेश्चन कोई भी गलत नहीं होंगे. You are not going to make any mistake in the serotonin वाला question. First and foremost, guys, 5-HT4 that we have, it is mainly present at the GIT and they mainly increases the GI motility. That means they are actually having prokinetic drug. Right? Now the prokinetic agent that we are having here, a very famous drug which each one of you should be aware, is known as prucalopride. A very famous drug is known as prucalopride. Prucalopride is going to increase the GI motility. Tell me, where can we use and why is this very much famous? Where can we use? It can be used in constipation dominant irritable bowel syndrome. It can be utilized in constipation dominant IBS. IBS is irritable bowel syndrome. It can also be utilized in opioid induced constipation. So you are always going to look for a case. A patient with osteosarcoma was started on opioid. Now he is having constipation. What is the immediate management that can be given to all of you guys? Constipation dominant irritable bowel syndrome, in opioid induced constipation, or I would say diabetic gastroparesis. Point to be noted here, boys and girls, that anywhere that you require to increase the GI motility, you can utilize this one. But since some of you are mentioning about the very famous drug that is known as your Cisapride, they are having a lot of pride in themselves. मोसाप्राइड, सीसाप्राइड, मोसाप्राइड, है ना, सीसाप्राइड, मोसाप्राइड, एंड एक और दैट वी हैव इज टेगासेरॉड, टेगासेरॉड. These agents are clinically less used, or I would say not used. We are not using them clinically because they are actually associated with QT prolongation. An examiner asked the question, because your examiner is too senior, and in their time as well I have seen this question. They have asked a couple of times already that if cisapride is given with which of the following drug, the risk of QT prolongation will increase. So risk is increased multiple folds. Risk is increasing multiple fold if given with enzyme inhibitor. If given with enzyme inhibitor, and you already know what are the enzyme inducer, what are the enzyme inhibitor. What are the enzyme inhibitor? The legendary mnemonic which each one of you should know, that what is the enzyme inhibitor. peacock वाला आएगा, inhibit करके जाएगा. I'll give you the complete name as well, but as of now I want all of you guys to stick to this what I am discussing with all of you guys. So what I don't want you to forget is Tiprolizan, Pitolisant. Can you quickly revise once again guys? आप पढ़ रहे हो, मैंने जैसे कि बोला था पढ़ाऊंगा भी ऐसे कि 4 घंटे आपके इस तैयारी के सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट 4 घंटे होंगे. Can you tell me what is Tiprolizan, Pitolisant? Each one of you are going to reply what is Tiprolizan, Pitolisant. रिवीजन में भी रिवीजन हो रहा है, देख रहे हैं आप लोग, रिवीजन में रिवीजन. Tiprolizan, Pitolisant, each one of you please. अभी पढ़ा है ना, S3 रिसेप्टर का क्या है वो, टिप्रोलिसेंट, पिटोलिसेंट. बिल्कुल ये वीडियो रहेगी. आई विल बी प्रोवाइडिंग पीडीएफ एज वेल. आफ्टर द सेशन यू विल हैव पीडीएफ एज वेल. टिप्रोलिसेंट, पिटोलिसेंट इज द S3 रिसेप्टर का इनवर्स एगोनिस्ट. यही तो बताया था ना मैंने, S3 रिसेप्टर का इनवर्स एगोनिस्ट. नाउ आते हैं 5-HT3 का. 5-HT3 is mainly present at the chemoreceptor trigger zone. At the chemoreceptor trigger zone, and whenever they get stimulated at the chemoreceptor trigger zone, they induce nausea and vomiting. They are going to induce nausea and vomiting. And we are having a drug. We are having 5-HT3 का क्या यूज करेंगे, एगोनिस्ट या एंटागोनिस्ट. What is the rule of 5? Rule of 5 says कि 1 and 4 का आपको यूज करना है एगोनिस्ट, 2 and 3 का यू नीड टू यूज एंटागोनिस्ट, राइट. सो 1 and 4 का एगोनिस्ट, 2 and 3 का एंटागोनिस्ट. सो 3 का क्या यूज करना है, एंटागोनिस्ट. So we are having 5-HT3 का antagonist. What are the 5-HT3 antagonists that we know? Everyone in the class is aware, sir. 5-HT3 antagonist आपने बताया तो था, right? That is ondansetron. Then we are having granisetron. Then we are having palanosatron. Then we are having dolasetron. All of them is going to be your setron. Ondansetron, granisetron, palanosatron, dolasetron. They are the 5-HT3 antagonists. They are considered as a drug of choice in patient with the nausea and vomiting. They are also considered the drug of choice in any patient with the chemotherapy induced nausea and vomiting. Chemotherapy induced nausea and vomiting. Chemotherapy induced nausea and vomiting, right? So that is your 5-HT3, right? We are done with the 5-HT1, 5-HT3, 5-HT2, 3 and 4, sorry. Then we are having 5-HT2. 5-HT2 is mainly involved in your psychotic pathway, right? Psychosis में mainly इसका involvement होता है, and we all know that negative symptoms that we are having are attributed, and when we are trying to treat negative symptom, we always use 5-HT2. So what is the rule of 5 says 2 and 3 का you always use antagonist. So we are going to use 5-HT2A का antagonist for the treatment of psychosis. Again revision class है, we are not going into much details, but treatment of psychosis में we are going to utilize, and we call them as a atypical antipsychotics. Atypical antipsychotics. Now यहीं पे एक और बात क्लियर कर दूं, atypical antipsychotics are having less risk of extrapyramidal symptom. Atypical antipsychotics are having less risk of extrapyramidal symptom, but they are having other side effect like metabolic syndrome. Clozapine, olanzapine, olanzapine, quetiapine. So everyone is aware that जो ड्रग हैं इनके नाम में एक ओबेसिटी वाला आ गया, फिगर 0 कर दिया. Then we are having quetiapine, again फिगर 0 हो गया. C again एक फैमिली पैक जो हम सबके पास है ना, clozapine. So they are all mainly associated with obesity, or I would say metabolic syndrome. They are atypical antipsychotics, and all of them they are also associated with the metabolic syndrome. All of them are associated with the metabolic syndrome. Point to be noted, quetiapine हमारे निमोनिक्स अगर आप याद करोगे तो क्यूटियापिन में निमोनिक्स में बताता हूँ, ये क्यूटियापिन हमारे निमोनिक्स में रानी की जगह पे आता है, क्वीन की जगह पे, और एक ऐसी क्वीन जो अंधी थी, तो अंधी रानी, दे आर एसोसिएटेड विद द साइड इफेक्ट कॉल्ड कैटरैक्ट. याद रखिएगा, आपके एग्जामिनेशन में होगा, हंसते हंसते मारना. कैटरैक्ट, अंधी रानी सर ने बताया था. क्लोजापिन दैट वी हैव, दे आर द ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस इन अ पेशेंट विद द रेजिस्टेंट साइकोसिस. resistant psychosis. We are also having one more compound in the same, that is a very risky drug known as your risperidone. Very risky drug by the name of risperidone. Now risperidone is a very risky. Why am I calling it a very risky drug? Why is it very risky? Because it is the most potent atypical antipsychotics. It is the मोस्ट पोटेंट एटिपिकल एंटीसाइकोटिक, इसीलिए बोलते हैं ये बहुत ही रिस्की है, मोस्ट पोटेंट, एंड दे आर ऑल्सो एसोसिएटेड विथ मेटाबॉलिक सिंड्रोम. वो तो होगा ही. मेटाबॉलिक सिंड्रोम इज सपोज टू बी अ साइड इफेक्ट ऑफ ऑल द एटिपिकल्स, राइट. बट उसके अलावा ये इतना रिस्की है कि इट इज ऑल्सो एसोसिएटेड विद टिपिकल वाला साइड इफेक्ट. एंड व्हाट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टिपिकल वाला साइड इफेक्ट? हाइपरप्लेटनीमिया एक्स्ट्रापिरामिडल सिम्टम. सो दे आर ऑल्सो एसोसिएटेड विद योर एक्स्ट्रापिरामिडल सिम्टम एंड दे आर ऑल्सो एसोसिएटेड विद योर hyperplatinemia. So examiner asked already in 2018 NEET PG, which of the following is the most potent atypical antipsychotic that is also associated with hyperplatinemia and extrapyramidal symptoms. You see, hyperplatinemia and extrapyramidal symptom are the side effect mainly associated with, they are mainly associated with the typical antipsychotics, है ना. लेकिन atypical की अगर बात करेंगे तो that is going to be risperidone. याद करिएगा इसको, ये एग्जामिनेशन का इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है, ठीक है. Then we are coming to 5-HT1. 5-HT1 को भी जल्दी से अगले 2 मिनट में कवर कर लेते हैं. 5-HT1 that we have, it is further subdivided into 5-HT1 that we have, it is further subdivided into 5-HT1B by D. एक होता है 5-HT1A, पहले 1A कर लेते हैं. 5-HT1A which is mainly involved in the anxiety pathway. 5-HT1A mainly involved in the anxiety pathway. We are going to utilize 5-HT1A का partial agonist. What is the name of the compound that is 5-HT1A का agonist guys, जो anxiety वालों को देते हैं, that is buspirone. रोता रहता है कौन? जो anxiety में रहता है. जेपीरॉन, ये भी buspirone. जेपीरॉन रोने वालों को देते हैं. इप्सापिरॉन. Then we are also having one more new compound here in the same 5-HT1A, which is known as 5-HT1A का agonist but 5-HT2 का antagonist. It's a new compound here and the name of the compound is your flibanserin. The name of the compound is guys flibanserin. Flibanserin is female के libido को increase कर देने वाला drug. Flibanserin is female के libido को increase करने वाला drug. So this is mainly utilized for hypoactive sexual desire in female. Mainly utilized for hypoactive सेक्सुअल डिजायर इन फीमेल. देखो हाइपोएक्टिव सेक्सुअल डिजायर इन मेल तो समझ में आ रहा है ना, लेकिन फीमेल के लिए आएगा तो दिस विल बी हैप्पी ड्रग फॉर मेल, राइट. हाइपोएक्टिव सेक्सुअल डिजायर फॉर फीमेल, तो नाम में ये फीमेल के लिबिडो को इंक्रीज करने वाला ड्रग. 5-HT1 का क्या यूज करना था बच्चे? 5-HT1 का एगोनिस्ट, 1 and 4 का एगोनिस्ट, 2 and 3 का एंटागोनिस्ट. डू रिमेंबर दैट. नाउ कमिंग बैक अगेन, है ना, कमिंग बैक अगेन टू द नेक्स्ट वन दैट इज नोन एज योर 5-HT1B. 5-HT1B by D. अगेन 1 है तो 1 का एगोनिस्ट यूज करना है. तो 1B by D that we have, D for दिमाग, it is present in the intracranial vessel and B stands for blood vessel, that is going to be peripheral blood vessel. So peripheral blood vessel पे we are having 5-HT1B. मैं जानबूझ के ऐसे ड्रॉ कर रहा हूँ so that आपको एक विजुअल मेमोरी क्रिएट हो जाए. एंड दिमाग में है 5-HT1D which is mainly involved in the migraine के पैथोफिजियोलॉजी वाले पाथवे में. Again once I am telling you, we are not going into those details right now. We are mainly trying to focus on this the important drugs and important topic that can be asked. 1B and D का अगर हम एगोनिस्ट यूज करते हैं, so this agonist will be drugs like your triptans. So we are having sumatriptan, we are having rizatriptan. सबके नाम में ट्रिप्टान वर्ड आएगा. सुमाट्रिप्टान, रिजाट्रिप्टान, नाराट्रिप्टान, फ्रोवाट्रिप्टान. All the agents that we have, their name is having triptan, and these triptans are considered as a drug of choice in migraine. Triptans are considered as a drug of choice in a patient with the migraine. They are the drug of choice in patient with migraine. Or I would say they are also considered as a drug of choice in acute severe migraine. Acute severe migraine. राइट, एक्यूट सीवियर माइग्रेन. अगर आपको मेरी इतनी सी बात समझ में आ गई, राइट, वी हैव डिस्कस्ड ऑलरेडी सेरोटोनिन, वी हैव डिस्कस्ड ऑलरेडी हिस्टामिन. इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स आपको याद रखना है. तो 5-HT1B by D का क्या यूज करना? एगोनिस्ट. ध्यान रखिएगा कभी एंटागोनिस्ट एग्जाम में आगे तो मत मार देना. प्लीज रिमेंबर आई एम टेलिंग यू, डू नॉट मार्क एंटागोनिस्ट, इट्स एगोनिस्ट. ठीक है, तो लेट्स रिपीट अगेन. 1 and 4 का क्या यूज करना है? एगोनिस्ट. 4 का इकलौता ड्रग मैं याद करने के लिए बोलूंगा, दैट इज प्रूकैलोप्राइड, राइट. 2 and 3 का क्या यूज करना है, एंटागनिस्ट. 5:3 एंटागनिस्ट इज गोइंग टू बी ड्रग्स लाइक योर ondansetron, granisetron, peranositron, any of the cetron, any nausea and vomiting, they are going to be the drug of choice. Now अगर आपको इतनी बात समझ में आ गई, then let's do the fun part. The fun part is this one. If you guys have been listening, remember I told you revision is the key. You should be well revised. अगर आपको मेरी बात पिछले 20 मिनट में समझ में आ रही है, if you have been listening to me from last 20 minutes, let's go and solve this one. Inverse agonist for H3 used in narcolepsy. I want all of you guys to quickly revise and quickly tell me the answer as well. Inverse agonist of H3 used for narcolepsy. This is very good guys. It is going to be drugs like your Tiprolisant, and we are having drugs like your Pitolisant, Tiprolisant and Pitolisant. What is the H1 antagonist which has maximum antihistaminic anticholinergic? Now H1 antagonist we are having chlorpheniramine, fexofenadine, I told you, but there is one by the name of promethazine. There is one by the name of promethazine. It is having maximum antihistaminic property, maximum anticholinergic property. Excellent, all of you guys. Maximum antihistaminic and maximum anticholinergic property. They are going to be utilized in, they can be utilized in a patient with the motion sickness. Okay. Apart from that, और कहाँ यूज करेंगे? Apart from this, apart from that, और कहाँ यूज कर सकते हैं? Motion sickness के अलावा they can also be utilized in the treatment of extrapyramidal symptom because they are having maximum antihistaminic with centrally acting anticholinergic property. Least sedative H1 antagonist, if the examiner is going to ask you overall, boys and girls, remember it is always going to be your drug of fexofenadine. That is why it is going to be preferred in truck drivers as well. We have second generation antihistaminic, estamizole, terfenadine. We are not using second generation one. And why we are not using? What is the reason for not using second generation antihistaminic drug? Right? By the reason is QT prolongation. They are mainly associated with QT prolongation. Right? Which antihistaminic are used for allergic conjunctivitis? We are having agents like your olopatadine. Olopatadine is a very important. Olopatadine is very important. ठीक है. 5:2C agonist used for obesity. Now 5:2 का rule मैंने क्या बताया था? What is the rule that I told you guys? According to my rule, 1 and 4 का you will be using agonist, 2 and 3 का antagonist. But here I am telling you, last question अगर आप ध्यान से देखोगे तो it is telling 5:2C का agonist. So this is one exception to the point here that 5:2 का agonist also is being used. Agonist also can be utilized for obesity, and the name of the compound that is 5:2 का agonist that we have is lorcaserin. The name of the compound is your lorcaserin. Load को कम कर देता है, that is going to be lorcaserin. It is going to reduce the load, है ना? Lorcaserin will be the compound here. Lorcaserin जो load को कम कर दे, that will be lorcaserin. Okay. Triptans. Can you tell me what about the triptans? Triptans will be acting on which receptor? किस receptor पे triptan काम करेगा? So remember guys, I just taught you triptans will be 5-HT1B by D का agonist and not antagonist. They have asked this question previously as well, है ना? 5:3 का antagonist, which each one of you are already aware. We are having drugs like your ondansetron, granisetron, peranositron. Methisergide is a drug that is mainly associated with a side effect called your pleuropulmonary fibrosis. It is mainly associated with your pleuropulmonary fibrosis, pericardial fibrosis. Fibrotic reaction is a very common side effect. That is why we are not using methisergide. Methisergide is clinically not used, है ना? Prostaglandin ka, what is the precursor of prostaglandin? Each one of you are aware that from the phospholipid there will be an enzyme called phospholipase A2 that will be causing formation of arachidonic acid. And arachidonic acid way, if you are going to see, there will be two different kind of enzyme will be working. One is 5-lipoxygenase is going to work. 5-lipoxygenase is going to work, and because of 5-lipoxygenase they will be forming leukotriene. Then we are having cyclooxygenase that is going to cause prostaglandin. The examiner here is mainly asking guys, what is the precursor of prostaglandin? So immediate precursor of prostaglandin, you already know that is going to be arachidonic acid. Immediate precursor is arachidonic acid. Since I have drawn this one, I would take this opportunity very quickly to discuss some of the important drugs. Can you tell me what is the COX inhibitor that we can utilize here? COX inhibitor that can decrease the prostaglandin, which each one of you are already aware that NSAIDs are all going to be COX inhibitor. And indomethacin, aspirin, and they are all NSAIDs. LOX inhibitor, LOX, I used to say that LOX sounds like Lux, that is a famous soap and shampoo brand. Lux will be used by a very famous actress by the name of Zileuton. So the name of the compound is going to be Zileuton. Zileuton is a LOX inhibitor. NSAID will be COX inhibitor. Lux से नहाती है, सॉरी उल्टा बोल दिया मैंने. है ना, सही तो बोला मैंने, जिल लग से नहाती है, बिल्कुल जिल, है ना. देन वी आर हैविंग नेक्स्ट इज 5 phospholipase A2 inhibitor. This is going to be your steroids. This is going to be your steroids. Okay, so again quickly we have seen precursor of prostaglandin. Now next question examiner can ask you, very very important, that what is the effect of prostaglandin E2 in fetus. Fetus में prostaglandin क्या काम करता है, तो it keeps the ductus arteriosus open. It keeps the ductus arteriosus open. Ductus arteriosus को open रखता है कौन, that is prostaglandin E2. Prostaglandin used for cervical ripening. Anyone can tell me? Prostaglandin used for cervical ripening, misoprostol, right? And PGE1 analog used for IBS with constipation. Please do not forget the last drug that I am telling you, IBS with constipation. It is going to be lubiprostone. The one which is going to increase lubrication of your intestine will be your lubiprostone. ठीक है. So from this one, what are the two important area? One is prostaglandin E2 in fetus. So prostaglandin E2 in fetus क्या करता है? It keeps the ductus arteriosus open at any point of time. At any point of time, if there is patent ductus arteriosus, if there will be a case of PDA, patent ductus arteriosus, we need to cut down the supply of the prostaglandin. So for that we always use COX inhibitor like indomethacin, ibuprofen. These are the COX inhibitor having equi-efficacy, almost similar efficacy that we have, can be utilized for management of the patent ductus arteriosus. Next, let's talk about this one, drug of choice for acute gouty arthritis. Acute gouty arthritis that we have, with each one of you are already aware, it is going to be NSAIDs. Except which NSAID, guys? Which NSAID? We will never be using aspirin, which is always an exception. Aspirin is not going to be utilized because aspirin itself is having increase in the uric acid property. They inhibit the uric acid excretion and therefore they can precipitate always. So NSAID can be utilized. What is the example of NSAID that can be utilized? Example like, let's say, indomethacin. Indomethacin is something that you can actually utilize. Chronic gout ke liye what is the drug of choice? So we are going to use xanthine oxidase inhibitor. And what is the xanthine oxidase inhibitor that we have, guys? What is the xanthine oxidase inhibitor? Xanthine oxidase inhibitor like drugs like your allopurinol. If patient is allergic or there is unavailability of allopurinol, we can also utilize another one by the name of febuxostat. Allopurinol and febuxostat. Next is uricosuric agent used for gouty arthritis. Please do remember that they are also utilized in chronic gout. ये भी chronic gout में ही use करते हैं. We also use them in chronic gout. And what are the uricosuric drug? The one that is going to inhibit the uric acid का reabsorption, and therefore they will increase the uric acid का excretion. So uricosuric drug that is used in gout, it is going to be drugs like your probenecid. It is going to be drugs like your probenecid, lesinurad, benzbromaron, and we are also having sulfinpyrazone. ठीक है, sulfinpyrazone. So they are going to be uricosuric drug. Please remember uricosuric, they increase the uric acid excretion. Last that we are having here, which is not visible here, I think it's visible now, fastest acting, एक और drug इसमें आता है gout में, which I want all of you guys to know and remember, which I will write in red here. Let me just make some space here. That there is known as your recombinant uricase. Recombinant uricase is also one of the compound that we know, that is drugs like your P-glotticase, Ras-buricase. P-glotticase and Ras-buricase. P-glotticase, Ras-buricase, they are very fast acting drug. They are fast acting and they can be also utilized in gout and can also be utilized in a patient with the tumor lysis syndrome. TLS is tumor lysis syndrome. They are very fast acting. है ना, फास्ट एक्टिंग ड्रग, फास्ट एक्शन होता है ना, and they can be also utilized in tumor lysis syndrome. So please to remember that if you want to decrease the uric acid, what are the different ways that we are having? You want to decrease the uric acid, you can inhibit the production. So they are xanthine oxidase inhibitor, they are going to decrease the production. So by decreasing production also you can decrease the uric acid level, and by increasing excretion also you can decrease the uric acid ka level. So increasing excretion is uricosuric, है ना, and ultimately you are going to decrease the uric acid level. And third one is going to be by increasing the metabolism by recombinant uricase by the name of P-glotticase, Ras-buricase, that will be causing metabolism into your water soluble metabolite by the name of allantoin. Allantoin is easily and readily can be excreted. रूमेटॉइड आर्थराइटिस के लिए ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस क्या, व्हाट इज द ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस फॉर रूमेटॉइड आर्थराइटिस, व्हिच ईच वन ऑफ यू आर ऑलरेडी अवेयर, methotrexate, which happens to be one of the dihydrofolate reductase inhibitor. Another question examiner asked that what is added with the methotrexate, always remember added your folinic acid along with the methotrexate. We are always adding folinic acid in any of the scenario. In cancer also, in rheumatoid arthritis also, we also add folinic acid. Other given the other name is leucovorin. Leucovorin of folinic acid is something that we are always going to utilize, right? So with this one, they have already asked this question, methotrexate साथ क्या ऐड करेंगे, because of high risk of megaloblastic anemia, will be using folinic acid. Which calcineurin inhibitor causing gum hypertrophy and hirsutism? C for calcineurin inhibitor that is causing this one is going to be your cyclosporine. Cyclosporine is one of the calcineurin inhibitor. There are two important calcineurin inhibitors, cyclosporine, tacrolimus. Out of them, the one causing gum hypertrophy is known as your gum cyclosporine. In upcoming examination, examiner can give you that which of the following anti-epileptic drug, AED matlab anti-epileptic drug causing gum hypertrophy. Each one of you is well versed about this drug by the name of phenytoin. Phenytoin is one of the anti-epileptic drug. AED is anti-epileptic drug that is also causing gum hypertrophy as a side effect. Do remember this one, important points always. Fastest acting anti-rheumatoid drug, last point that we are having, it is going to be your leflunomide. Not a very important, but again it's good to know, right? Rheumatoid mein drug of choice has been given, and what is added to prevent the toxicity we have also given here, right? So do remember this one for all of you guys कि ये दोनों अलग अलग होते हैं. कौन कौन दोनों अलग अलग होते हैं? यूरिकोस्यूरिक एंड डिक्रीजिंग द यूरिक एसिड प्रोडक्शन, ये दोनों ही अलग होते हैं. दे आर नॉट सेम. यूरिकोस्यूरिक आर गोइंग टू बी ड्रग्स लाइक योर प्रोबेनेसिड, लेसिनुराड, बेंजब्रोमारोन, सल्फिनपैराजोन, एंड डिक्रीजिंग द यूरिक एसिड प्रोडक्शन इज गोइंग टू बी योर xanthine oxidase. It's going to be your xanthine oxidase inhibitor, right? दोनों अलग होते हैं, इन दोनों में कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं है, बिकॉज आई हैव सीन मेनी अ टाइम्स स्टूडेंट्स आर मेकिंग मिस्टेक ऑन दिस वन. आई होप इट इज क्लियर टू ऑल ऑफ यू गाइस. एंड देन वी आर डन विद एटलीस्ट टू मार्क्स मिनिमम हमने अभी तक कवर किया इन द लास्ट हाफ एन आवर, है ना. क्लास 10 मिनट लेट स्टार्ट हुआ था. हाफ एन आवर में हमने 3 इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स को कवर किए, एंड एडिशनली वी विल बी कवरिंग अदर पॉइंट्स एज वेल. क्लियर है? दोनों अलग अलग है ना, दोनों अलग अलग होते हैं, दोनों सेम नहीं होते हैं. Now, one more in the immunomodulator is going to be your TNF alpha inhibitor. TNF alpha inhibitor, one very famous mnemonic that I always used to give you. The TNF alpha examination है 20 तारीख को, 21 तारीख को. दो चीज़ों की बहुत ज़्यादा जरूरत पड़ने वाली है आप सभी को. एक तो मौसम में आग है और एक आग चाहिए आपको बाहर से. एक अंदर की आग है, एक आग बाहर से चाहिए, और साथ में चाहिए आइस. तो आइस एंड आग इज अ वेरी वेरी फेमस mnemonic that I always tell the student to remember, that they are the TNF alpha inhibitor. They are going to be drugs like your infliximab, they are going to be drugs like your certolizumab, etanercept, adalimumab, and we are having golimumab. आइस एंड आग, आइस के ऊपर आग या आइस एंड आग, आइस एंड आग, आइस के ऊपर आग, है ना. So this is a very very simple mnemonic to remember all the TNF alpha inhibitor. What is the use of this TNF alpha inhibitor? Can be utilized in rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel diseases, or wherever else we require immunomodulative property, we can utilize this one. Interleukin 1 receptor antagonist, one is going to be A is the first letter, that is going to be your anakinra. Important immunomodulators, I'm just summarizing here. Anakinra. Interleukin 2 will be your daclizumab, so 2 से D, daclizumab. It's a humanized monoclonal antibody, and B is the second letter, so you can remember basiliximab. Daclizumab, and other one is your basiliximab. Now what is the most important point from this slide that I want each one of you to remember, that interleukin 6 inhibitor tocilizumab. क्या है? Tocilizumab. Examiner has already asked this, but next time में they can give you one more, SA6, that is sarilumab. That is going to be your sarilumab है ना, 6 से sarilumab. And how do you always remember tocilizumab? So I asked you to remember tocilizumab. कैसे पढ़ोगे? You read like tocilizumab, that is tocilizumab. Co-stimulation inhibitor, this is going to be drugs like your abatacept and belatacept. Abatacept and belatacept, they are the co-stimulation inhibitor that is mainly acting between CD80 of antigen presenting cell and CD28 of T cell. इन दोनों के बीच में इट इज गोइंग टू वर्क एंड दे इनहिबिट द स्टिमुलेशन of it is going to inhibit the stimulation of your T cell. So that is co-stimulation inhibitor. All these are immunomodulatory agent. In addition to that एक और ड्रग का नाम मुझे याद आ रहा है, मैं आपके लिए यहाँ मेंशन कर दे रहा हूँ. They are the mTOR inhibitor. mTOR inhibitor. Can any one of you tell me mTOR inhibitor क्या होते हैं? What are the mTOR inhibitor? mTOR inhibitor कौन से होते हैं? That has already been asked in one of the 2021 examination. mTOR inhibitor. You must have heard about this one. Sirolimus, everolimus and everolimus. So जितने भी आपके ये ड्रग हैं, immunomodulated drug, I have summarized in this particular slide, right? I have summarized in this particular slide. तो जितने भी डिफिकल्ट पोर्शन है हमने उसको पहले ले लिया, बिकॉज लास्ट में क्या होता है वो हो नहीं पाता है. इजी टॉपिक्स हम कर लेते हैं बट लास्ट में हो नहीं पाता है, राइट? So we are done here and let's go and quickly talk about the next topic that we are having, right?